Hey, Battle Bill here with another video, and today we're going to get into some more Master League Go Battle League battles. In today's set, I'm trying out another new team because I've been having a hard time settling on a set of 3 Pokemon to use that isn't just the basic meta line, mostly because I don't have a Dialga to use, but the basic meta line is Dialga, Giratina Origin, and Melmetal. In the team I'm currently running, I'm running 1 out of those 3 Pokemon, that Pokemon being Melmetal. I'm running Snorlax also in the back, and I'm leading with Garchomp. One thing to note that's important is the moveset I'm running on my Garchomp is Sand Tomb and Outrage. Sand Tomb, so I have that bait move. When you run just Outrage and Earthquake, as much as Earthquake can essentially one-shot a Dialga, you really can't bait any moves. And if they don't expect to bait and they shield, then you're constantly just trying to use Mud Shot to charge up to those big energy moves. And having something to bait with like Sand Tomb is just really important. Because even though Mud Shot charges fast, it still takes a while to get to those moves. So his first match, I'm battling against B. O'Brien, and I'm leading with my Garchomp against his Kyogre. This could be a positive matchup. It's a very bait-dependent one, which is why I feel like Sand Tomb is so important. You really need to land the Outrage, but I also really need to get a shield because most people are going to try and shield at least one of the charge moves. So I'm going for the Sand Tomb here, and I'm hoping to get a shield. Great. Got the shield. You can't see it because Kyogre's so big, but on top of that, Sand Tomb nerfs your opponent's defense. So you saw his defense fall, so hopefully now I can charge up to an Outrage, and when I land that, it'll do even more damage than it would have done. So I'm going for the Outrage here. You'll notice that I shielded his first charge move being Surf. Garchomp's a ground and dragon type, which means it takes neutral damage to those water type moves. And Garchomp's attack heavy, so that Surf still kind of chunks at it a bit. Notice though, I was able to chunk down his Kyogre with those Mud Shots because his defense was lowered. That was a great situation, but now he has Togekiss in, and I'm going for the Sand Tomb. It lands right there, which is great. It'll nerf his defense, but Togekiss absolutely walls Garchomp. But I don't mind that here because Garchomp essentially already did its job, and I nerfed his defense on top of it. So I'm going to bring in Melmetal. It has a very positive matchup against Togekiss. Snorlax has a decent matchup against it also. He decides to switch, and he brings in Dialga. So I'm like, okay, I know how I'm going to play this out. I'm going to throw 2 superpowers at this Dialga, probably get one of the shields, and then bring in Snorlax to essentially deal with the rest of the Dialga's health. Right now, I'm playing out this match really great. I get the shield on that first superpower. I'm going for the second superpower here. This will do about half damage because it's nerfed, but I don't mind this because my Melmetal still has a bunch of health, and I can swap it out, and those 2 superpower nerfs are now gone. So I bring in Snorlax, and I'm licking away at his Dialga. And I'm essentially going to go for the Earthquake because Body Slam's not going to do enough damage. But I have no intentions of shielding anything because his Togekiss in the back has energy, and I don't want to land a Flamethrower on my Melmetal. So right here, I'm continuing to go for that Earthquake, and this is where I make a bit of a mistake. I shouldn't have committed to the Earthquake. I should have gone for the Body Slam. Even though it would have been minimal, it still would have done some damage at least, and you'll notice that Iron Head that just landed essentially took me out, and I couldn't even get to my charge move because of it. So that was where I start to make a mistake, and I almost start to slowly lose this match. So I decided to try and overfarm in his Dialga, and then I go for this superpower, which is another mistake I made. That Dialga was in Rock Slide range essentially, and by me throwing the superpower, I'm now nerfing my attack and defense when I really didn't need to. So now I need to be cautious. Here comes the Togekiss's charge move. At this point, no matter what it is, I need to shield because between its charge move, which this ends up being Ancient Power, and the charms, he would be able to take me out. And I'm hoping that I didn't just mess up this match because I nerfed myself. This Rock Slide's not going to finish off the Togekiss. I need to land this one right here, and then I need to get to another Rock Slide. So this essentially becomes a race between the charms, and depending on how much energy his Togekiss had, and I just barely get to that Rock Slide in time, and I'm able to take out his Togekiss and win this first match. So as I get used to a new team, and I feel like this goes for all of us, I tend to make a lot of mistakes. It's hard. You gotta know your matchups, and you can run all the simulations you want, but you don't really know how things are going to play out until you see it and you actually play it out. But luckily I take game 1, and I'm going into game 2 here with the same team against Haji 724. And when you're running Garchomp as your lead, you really want to see something like Giratina Origin as a lead. Here we run into Machamp, which is an interesting lead. The Machamp's counters and its cross chops will add up. I'll take neutral damage from it. Outrage, I'm pretty sure would like one-shot Machamp because of how glassy it is, but again, I want to get a shield because most people will commit at least one shield in a lead matchup like this. So he goes for his charge move. I didn't know how much cross chop did, so I see it there. Doesn't do too much, but the counters are adding up. I go for the Sand Tomb here. Again, just like in the last match, I'm hoping to get a shield from this Machamp. Got the shield. Awesome. I charge up again, and I'm thinking to myself, I think it's this match I do it. Is he going to shield a second time? Yeah, I'm pretty confident this is a match. So I actually kind of figured he would really try and commit to just winning the switch advantage. So I go for another Sand Tomb here. And I'm hoping, okay, hopefully I didn't just overthink this, and hopefully I get that second shield. I get the second shield. And I'm like, wow, this is working out perfect. I go for Outrage, I will take him out, and I'll win the switch advantage. He gets his charge move, I decide to shield it. My one thing that I'm concerned about, though, is that he's going to swap out because he knows he's going to lose this matchup. And what does he do? He swaps out, and I'm like, whatever's coming in ends up being Dialga. I'm going for this Outrage no matter what, because it's my heavy-hitting move. My Garchomp's practically almost dead anyway. So I throw this Outrage, and you'll notice for neutral damage, it does about 2/3. That's some solid damage, considering Dialga has that Steel type, so it doesn't take super effective from Dragon type moves. So I bring in my Melmetal to essentially counter and finish off his Dialga. I overcharged a little bit. That's where I made a mistake here. I should have just gone for the superpower a little bit earlier, so I didn't have to take whatever this charge move is, which ends up being Thunder from his Dialga. But now I'm going for my superpower because we see him P-Tide. If I would have obviously beaten him to it, I would have had more health, and then I would have been able to just charge up another superpower from what I'm assuming is going to be his Machamp coming in, which it ends up being, so I go for another superpower immediately, because Rock Slide would deal not very effective damage against his Machamp. So I just want to get off as much damage as possible. And now he's at the point where he's going to commit to countering me down, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to bring in Garchomp and hope that whatever energy he just built up, he essentially just dumps it on my Garchomp, and if not, I can go for the Sand Tomb, but he does dump the energy on my Garchomp, so I'm like, perfect. Because I have Snorlax in the back. I didn't really want my Snorlax to take a cross chop to the face. So now I'm going to bring in Snorlax, and I'm going to hope that whatever he has in the back, Snorlax with energy advantage can beat it. Again, waiting for his Pokemon. Ends up being Snorlax. Snorlax with an energy advantage is not going to beat another Snorlax when the energy advantage is very minimal, like I have in this situation. So I'm debating to myself, how can I play this out properly to win this? He's just going for Body Slam spam, which I don't really blame him for doing, just a safer move. He's got a bunch more health. I'm going for Earthquake because I'm pretty sure, and if somebody can answer that question in the comments, I'd love to know, is Earthquake more energy efficient than Body Slam? I hope it is, but I land that Earthquake, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I maneuver this? He's essentially ahead of me on energy right now. He's ahead of me on health. How's it going to play out? The one thing that I have in my favor is that these licks do very minimal damage, so it's really going to come down to these charge moves. So I decide to go for a Body Slam here, and I'm thinking, that Earthquake before did about 1/3 of his health, and I know that 2 Body Slams is more energy than 1 Earthquake. So I'm like, maybe if I survive this next Body Slam, I can commit to going to the Earthquake and take out his Snorlax and just barely pull out this match. So he's going to land this Body Slam here. The licks are definitely not going to take me out, even though I'm super low. And I'm just hoping to myself, can I get to that Earthquake? Can I get to that Earthquake? I get there, we see him P-Tie. And I was like, oh, so close. That Earthquake would have taken out the remainder of that Snorlax's health. And I definitely wouldn't have gotten the 2 Body Slams, so I didn't mind making that decision. That wasn't really a mistake. But I end up losing game 2. And it was a weird lead situation, and we both kind of committed both shields, so I didn't really mind losing that match. We're going into this 3rd match, but I'm pretty sure this match against Nick Harper ends up lagging out, so I'm going to try and fast forward. It does lag out, and now I'm getting into a match against this person named Saibasu, and I'm committing to the same strategy, and what do you know, I run into another Machamp lead, which is fascinating. Rarely see them. The back of my team, Melmetal and Snorlax, are pretty weak to Machamp. Garchomp, like I said, takes neutral damage, so this isn't really a bad matchup. I just really need to bait his Machamp. So, I'm going for the Sand Tomb here. I'm hoping I'm going to get a shield out of him. You always got to build up to that Outrage if you want to bait. If you throw your energy too quickly, they're going to know it's a Sand Tomb coming and they're not going to shield. But he did shield, which perfect. He's going to throw his Cross Chop here. I decide to shield just because I already know I'm going to go for the Outrage next. I don't know. Sometimes you get a feel for whoever you're playing, and I had a feeling that he wasn't going to, or at least I was thinking in my head he wasn't going to commit 2 shields. And I also really didn't want him to because I didn't want this match to play out like the last one, because committing the 2 shields in the beginning didn't end up winning me the match. So I decided to just go for the Outrage here. It would definitely KO Machamp at its current health, even though it's almost practically full. Machamp, like I said before, is a glassy mon. But he does decide to shield again. So I'm like, alright, let's get out of here. Let's bring in Snorlax. Yes, Snorlax is going to take some damage, but he has no shields at this point. And what do we see? Another Snorlax. My Snorlax keeps on getting met up with other Snorlaxes. I would have preferred if, he swapped in a Dialga or if he swapped in a Giratina, because I can get to those Earthquakes and they would deal solid damage against both of those mons. When you're faced off against another Snorlax, even though, like I said earlier, Earthquake I'm pretty sure is more energy efficient, I'm better off just going for the Body Slam spam and just getting in as many of them as I possibly can. I think he was building up a bunch of extra energy here to try and bait my last shield out. I think that's what he was hoping for. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this play out. I have other Pokemon in the back that can deal with your Snorlax, so I'm not really too worried about it. This all falls on whatever his third Pokemon is, because that Machamp was pretty low. And even though Melmetal takes super effective damage from it, I'll get to a Rock Slide or a Superpower and be able to take out whatever, actually probably just a Superpower, to take out the remaining health of that Machamp. But here I'm going for another Snorlax. I'm going for another Body Slam. It lands, and both switch timers are out, and I'm like, oh snap, he decided to switch. He brought in his Machamp to essentially try and counter me down. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick with this because this Body Slam will do it solid amount of damage. I could have swapped out, but he did it so quick. My Garchomp, if I would have brought it back in, would have been so low on energy anyway. And now I decided to bring in Garchomp, and I'm able to Mudshot him down. Whereas, I don't know if the play would have been to swap in Garchomp. Maybe I should have. Maybe that was where I made my mistake here. And then my big mistake here was not going for that Sand Tomb once that Dialga came in. If I would have thrown that Sand Tomb and lowered its defense, this Melmetal matchup against Dialga would have gone a lot better for me. Essentially what my plan here is to double Superpower, but if I was able to land that Sand Tomb, the first Superpower would have done a lot more damage. It might not have taken him out, but it would have gotten him in Rock Slide range, and that's going to show to be extremely important towards the end of this match. So I'm going for this first Superpower here, and it's gonna, when it lands, we're gonna see how much damage it does. It gets him in the yellow. It would have definitely had him in the red and super close to being out if I would have lowered his defense. I go for the second Superpower immediately, and I'm thinking to myself, oh man, now I'm double nerfed. If I would have thrown a Superpower and a Rock Slide, because like if I would have landed the Sand Tomb earlier and I could have gotten away with throwing the Superpower and the Rock Slide, I wouldn't have been double nerfed. And you'll notice here, now he's going for his own Superpower, and that Superpower takes me out, or almost takes me out, and I just get to my own Superpower, and I'm not able to get the charge move through because his quick moves take me out. So that ends up being huge because my Melmetal wouldn't have been double nerfed if I threw that Sand Tomb earlier. Essentially, is the reason why I lost. I also got close here to getting to another Body Slam, but he beats me to it. He throws it right here, and it takes me out, and he ends up taking this match from me. So that's the mistake there. If you have a Garchomp low on health, don't even try to attempt going for the Outrage. Just throw the Sand Tomb. In most situations, that's going to be your safer play. So now we're going into the fourth match of the set, and this is against Professor Master Mario. I'm going to lead with Garchomp here. They lead with Togekiss. So now, this is the worst possible situation to have your Garchomp in. You need to switch out immediately. Garchomp gets walled by Togekiss. I never go into my hard counters. I bring in Snorlax, which would be like a softish counter. This person decides to bring in their Melmetal. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to commit to going for the Earthquake. People don't typically shield their Melmetals if they haven't thrown a Superpower yet. They want to save those shields for after they nerf themselves with the Superpower. So this Earthquake lands, and I'm pretty satisfied with the amount of damage it does. And we CMP tied. So I'm assuming this is a Superpower, so I decide to shield. It ends up being a Superpower, and I know another one should be coming shortly after, and I'm hoping at this point that I can commit to a Lick and Body Slam down of his Melmetal. He's going for another charge move here. We're going to wait to see what it is. It ends up being another Superpower, so now he's double nerfed, and what my mistake here was is I shouldn't have thrown this Body Slam. Because he was double nerfed, I'm pretty confident that I would have been able to commit to the Lick down. That's what I should have done at least, considering I was at disadvantage. But he decides to use his shield, so I guess I wasn't able to commit to the Lick down because we CMP tied on that also. So he throws another Superpower, and I decide to shield because I really want switch advantage, and now I'm down 1-0, and I'm able to commit to this Lick down. And now we need to wait to see what he brings in to handle my Snorlax. So maybe that was my mistake there. I'm not sure where my mistake is in this match. Honestly, I might not even lose this match. But he brings in Giratina, and I'm thinking, oh, this was a mistake. he brings in Giratina, I go for the Body Slam. I just like kind of stutter clicked on it. I wasn't sure what he was bringing in, and I definitely didn't want my Snorlax to go down, wasted energy, and then I hate myself for it because I really would have liked to have landed an Earthquake on his Giratina. So at this point, I'm just committing to the Licks and hoping I can get to the Earthquake. He's getting to a charge move, and I'm hoping it's not Dragon Pulse. It ends up being Ominous Wind, and I'm like, alright, that's great. It does no damage to me. So I'm going to continue to commit, but he brings in his Togekiss, and I'm going for the Body Slam immediately. So that ends up kind of messing me up that I wasn't able to get to the Earthquake on his Giratina. But I do have a counter for his Togekiss here, and it ends up being my Metal. So here I need to be careful though, because now I have no shields, and this person has 1 shield. And now I'm going for a Rock Slide, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to another Rock Slide, because if they beat me to the charge move, which they most likely will, that Flamethrower is going to get me either really, really low or completely take me out. So we're going to wait for the charge move to come through. It ends up being Flamethrower. It doesn't take me out completely, and I am able to just barely get to this Rock Slide. This will take out the remaining health of the Togekiss, but now I'm super low, and I have to worry about getting farmed by his Giratina Origin, and then I also have to remember that my Snorlax in the back doesn't have a ton of health to deal with this Giratina Origin. Luckily, I get to this Rock Slide, so essentially my plan just becomes throw this Rock Slide, and I don't even think I let my Do I let my Snorlax come back into this match? Let's find out. My Metal goes down here. I think I do just because I know how much damage I can do with the Licks on Giratina, and the Shadow Claws really don't do a lot of damage, so he's going to have to dump his energy on my Snorlax. So I do go for Snorlax, and I was thinking I'd commit to a Lick Down. I couldn't. I got super close to dying. So I go for the Body Slam, and I'm like, okay, nothing Giratina Origin has, because he already showed Ominous Wind, nothing he has is going to take out my Garchomp, and I will wait. I will allow this charge move to come through, most likely being a Shadow Ball. And I know he definitely doesn't have enough energy to get to 2 Shadow Balls, so I'm either going to try and go for the Sand Tomb, or I'm going to Mud Shot the Giratina down. I hate that we get lag like that, because I could have gotten to a Sand Tomb there. It didn't have an effect on the match. It might have. I don't know where his energy was at. I doubt that that person had 2 Shadow Balls, but still. Even though I ended up winning from it, I really, like, Niantic, please, just get it together. I'm asking nicely. If I was supposed to lose that match, then I want to lose that match. But I don't want to win because of lag, and I don't want to lose because of lag. So if I was on the other side, I'd be raging. This last match of the set is against Land Mystic 1114. And we're just committing to the same strategy. The lead ends up being Garchomp on Dialga. Now, this is not a positive matchup for me because the Dragon Breaths from Dialga are going to deal super effective damage to my Garchomp. So I essentially need to get out. I never go for the hard counter, which is why I went for Snorlax instead of Melmetal. And I'm hoping that whatever he decides to bring in, which doesn't look like anything right now, will be something that I can actually maybe take switch advantage from. But he goes for his charge move here. He's keeping his Dialga right now. So I'm debating why he's doing that. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm going to just go completely for the Earthquake, but he switches, and he brings in a Kyogre. I was surprised he didn't go for the Kyogre right away. He kind of just like dumped some energy on my Snorlax, but I guess it works out because Dialga didn't really take much damage from those licks. So I go for the Body Slam here. It does a little bit. I was kind of hoping to get a shield, and now I'm kind of like, alright, I didn't get the shield. I'm just going to commit to this Earthquake, and now hopefully he doesn't decide to shield, and hopefully he just thinks it's another Body Slam. Because if he shields this would usually do a lot of damage. He doesn't. He gets him in the red. I'm like, okay, I still don't have switch advantage, but at least I got his Kyogre to a point where it's practically dead. Thinking to myself what my plan should be, I decide to bring in the Garchomp because I want to commit to a Mud Shot down because it'll give me more of a chance against his Dialga. If I have energy on Garchomp and I can throw my charge moves at it, either I can lower his defense and get a shield with Sand Tomb, or I can deal about 2/3 of his... I can take 2/3 of his health with the Outrage. But he ends up getting to 2 Surfs here. Luckily, Garchomp has a Dragon typing, so that makes us neutral. But you'll see right here that it still does like a decent amount. It's about 1/3 of his health, so that adds up. We get a little bit more lag here, which, again, I don't think would have had too much of a difference, but still shouldn't be happening. Regardless, I'm expecting the Dialga to come back in. I'm debating myself if I want to bait here or if I want to throw the energy, and I decide to bait because I know his Dragon Breath won't completely finish me off in like a second. So I'm hoping he'll shield this, expecting it to be an Outrage. He does shield it, and I bring in my Melmetal to save Garchomp's remaining health and energy for later. Swap in Melmetal, and then his last Pokemon ends up being Rhyperior, which is not good for me. Those Mud Slaps are adding up. So I'm like, alright, let's charge up to essentially 2 superpowers. I throw this first one, hoping he won't shield. Even though in the back of my mind, I do really need that shield from him, so if he would have shielded one of these, I wouldn't have minded that too much. I'm going for the second superpower here. Because I'm nerfed, it's not going to do the same damage as the first one, so even if he doesn't shield, it's not going to take him out. It gets him super close in the red. And now he's going for his charge move, and I'm pretty sure I don't decide to shield this because he's just going to Mud Slap me down, so it wouldn't make any sense. He throws a superpower, so I'm like, oh, okay, this might be able to work. I got a Mud Shot, I can Mud Shot down, I have a bunch of energy, and this was such an obvious bait. This is where I made a mistake. I wanted that one shield, but it's obvious that I need to get that one shield, so I should just went straight for the Outrage. Instead I go for the Sand Tomb, and he doesn't shield, and I don't get that shield from him, and I can't even get to the next Outrage, so at this point I'm just going to throw another Sand Tomb and just say GG to this match. But if I would have thrown the Outrage there, I might have gotten him low enough to Mud Shot him down. It would have been a closer race at least. But I end up losing that match, and that ends up being a bit of my mistake. And I go 2-3 in this set, unfortunately. But again, I need more practice with this team. It's a new team that I essentially kind of came up with earlier today. There was another team I was talking to you guys about in the last video that I didn't really say what was on it, but I said I'd have a video on it. But then I realized like a really huge hole in it. So I'm like, you know what, let me not put out a video where I know this team has a big weakness. That wouldn't be helpful to you guys, and that wouldn't be helpful for me. So hopefully you might have these Pokemon lying around. I know Garchomp's pretty hard to have lying around. Gibbles aren't exactly easy to come by, especially high IV ones. But if you do, I recommend it. I want to practice more with it. Maybe you'll see it in another video. Even though I went 2-3, that was more my mistakes than the team's mistakes. So it probably has some good play, and hopefully I can put together a better clip to show you guys more of its strengths. Other than that, continue to let me know what 3s you're running in the comment section. Maybe I'll try out one of those if I have the Pokemon. I don't have a Master League Kyogre. Somebody recommended that in the comments last time. I'm not going to be able to use that, unfortunately. I still need to get myself a Dialga. I'm working on just getting higher IVs of these Pokemon. Like I have the candies and whatnot. I have the Stardust to power them up. I just need the high IVs. I don't want to be going into Master League battles with 93s and 91s because then I need a best buddy boost, and I still might not really be able to compare in the mirror matches. Either way, let me know what you think of the team. I will see you guys. Oh, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, please. I really appreciate it. We just hit 100 subscribers, and I'm just really excited about this channel. And give me any other feedback you think I should be able to be taking into consideration for the videos. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next episode.